Here I want to showcase a few things with dodge offset. Now, for the most part, this is pretty unanimously accepted as like very good and very strong. However, I've seen like a couple of people who seem to think that it's not worth it because of accidentally getting these like long recovery comboed finishers. However, as I've shown in previous guides, if you do accidentally get like a long recovery finisher, just tap Blood Raven. That's all you got to do. If you're ever like in a bind and you're in a super like long recovery, all you got to do is tap Blood Raven, and you can literally get out of it. You can tap Blood Raven and block at the same time, so you can get your little perfect Blood Raven parry, or it will consume your gauge, but you will block literally anything. Like the Blood Raven block will block pretty much anything in the game that exists. So, you know, if you're ever in that position, just hit Blood Raven and dash. That'll get you, or Blood Raven and block. That's literally all you have to do. But dodge offset is basically just holding dodge as you attack. So like we see here, I have my XY combo, or sorry, XY combo. If I attack and then dodge, it resets your combo essentially, right? So I go into the start of the Y combo. However, if you do it properly, so it's basically holding dodge as your attack ends, holding block as you're dodging, and then coming out of it with your next attack, it'll continue the combo. So instead of this, I can do this. Nope. I can do this. Nope. This. Jesus Christ. There we go. So you can get into... That's why I don't understand how people are doing this accidentally, because the timing's like pretty tight. You have to like hold and release at like the perfect time. So this can be advantageous in a couple ways. First of all, like just with your regular combos, especially if you're trying to get into like a launcher combo. Let's say, you know, an enemy is about to come in off screen and you need to get out of the way, right? So you can continue your combo and still get into your launcher while getting out of the way of an attack. So get out of the way, continue your combo and launch. Where this is really advantageous is with Blood Raven. So when we look at our Blood Raven, like just regular X attack, there's 2 upward slashes and then like the double slash. Now if you look at the right, the first X is a level 1, the second X hold is a level 2, the third X hold is a level 3. That basically has to do with the damage it's doing as well as the delim. I'm pretty sure it's both damage and delim because delim is always tied to damage anyway. So, you know, this part of the attack here, if you hold it specifically, gives you more damage and a better delim chance. But it's a lot of Blood Raven gauge to waste to go through all this, and it takes a long time. But if you do your dodge offset, you only have to do 2 regular attacks. God, I suck. And you can chain it. So you can chain that initial one. You can really use this against bosses to like deal a lot of damage if you can safely get away with it. You can also go into the XXY. So we have our XXY. So you can go X, X, dodge, Y, which again is a level 3 attack. So you're not wasting a bunch of Blood Raven gauge. On Master Ninja, if you don't want to be like UT spamming and shit, you're basically going to need to utilize your Blood Raven attacks in a smart way. This is the best way to do that because you're able to get your strongest Blood Raven attacks without wasting a bunch of your Blood Raven gauge. Also, without keeping yourself as like vulnerable, because you're pretty vulnerable during, I mean, not quite, I mean, it's not that much longer, I guess. But either way, you're wasting less Blood Raven gauge, which is very crucial. Because I can't tell you how many times I'm Master Ninja, I'm like trying to wipe enemies with Blood Raven, and then I'm out of gauge, and then some asshole like this decides to start, let's say there's 3 of them, and they all decide to start blocking and doing red attacks, and I literally have nothing I can do other than like run away and wait for Blood Raven gauge to fucking fill up. And you want to avoid that. This is the best way to avoid that. You can also, like, there's some really cool combos you can put together. So, like, one of my favorites is this. With the ninja box. So the ninja box has the Y combo. I like the second part of it a lot. With the claws. So you can do one tonfa hit, come in, and fuck up your inputs. Nope. I don't know why this one's harder to pull off. So you can find a ton of cool combos. Also, you have weapons like the staff. And the staff is a very, like, interesting weapon because I think it's kind of harder to use, like, really effectively. But this really allows the staff to shine because you can get a lot of your hammer attacks in a lot quicker. Because the hammer's typically pretty slow. But if you do your dodge offset stuff, you can get a lot of the hammer attacks out without being so vulnerable. So, one last thing you can do, you can also do this in air. So, like, in air, we have 1, 2, 3, but you can skip and go straight into your big finisher. That wasn't it, but this is. Nope. And you can get into your big finisher right away. So, yeah, this really, like, I can't believe I, like, didn't look into this further, and I spent, I don't know how many hours just playing the game without it. However, I really don't regret that because this game is very, very complex. Like, the combat complexity in this game is fucking nuts. And there are so many things to learn. The skill ceiling is incredibly high. So yeah, use dodge offset for your Blood Ravens. I promise. The 2 heavy is really hard to pull off for some reason, but whatever. Again, this is really hard to, like, pull off because enemies aren't just gonna let you do it. But if you can do it against the boss, it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I hope that helps. Dodge offset chain link, it's called in this game, is very, very strong. Don't sleep on it. Use it. Peace.